Hi everyone, I'm Rincey and this is Rincey Reads. Today I'm going to be doing a review of East of Eden by John Steinbeck. The story mainly follows kind of like a family through a couple generations. It is meant to basically parallel the story of like Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel in the Old Testament. That's basically all I knew going into this story, but I feel like there's so much more that happens in this book that I was not expecting whatsoever. I really enjoyed this book. I mentioned this in my September wrap-up, but I really had a good time reading this book. I shouldn't say good time, but I really enjoyed the experience of reading this book. Steinbeck has really beautiful prose and just his writing style just really draws you in, or at least drew me in. This is, kind of a longer book, but I was kind of buddy reading this with some other booktubers, and so I was reading it slightly slowly at first and really just absorbing it and just getting used to the style and the way it was written. I feel like I haven't really experienced another book like this, at least not anytime recently, so it took me a minute to just get used to the style, get used to what was happening, get used to like the metaphors and just the parallels and trying to really pick up on what Steinbeck was doing in the story. But then once I got into it, I was just like devouring it in big chunks. Like I said, this story follows over multiple generations, and so there were some characters when we were following their storylines I was super into, and then there were some characters where I wasn't quite as much into, and I don't know if Steinbeck purposely slowed down the plot in those sections or what, but there are certain characters like Kathy. When Kathy was in this book and had a major role, and you'll find out who Kathy is if you read the book. I'm not going to say who she is, but she is just the most captivating, I suppose would be the best word, character that I've read in a long time. I think what Steinbeck did with her was really, really interesting, just really analyzing and questioning the ideas of good and evil and what's inherently in us versus the choices that we make and things like that. And he obviously explores that with some of the other characters in this novel too, but especially the way he handles it with Kathy was really interesting and just, I don't know, made me think and really drew me in and made me want to read more about Kathy, as opposed to maybe like Adam. If there were Adam solo chapters or solo sections, I wasn't completely into it, maybe because Adam was meant to be sort of like a baseline compared to some of the other characters. I also think the relationship between Adam and Charles was really interesting, so when the two of them were together, Steinbeck was talking about their relationship. I found all of that really interesting, and I also kind of wish there was more of that. I mean, I understand why there wasn't more of that, it makes sense, but at the same time I kind of wish that we had gotten to experience more of it. But like I said, overall I really enjoyed this book. I feel like it's a book that just really makes you analyze your own character, or I shouldn't say you. It made me really analyze my own character and the way we judge people and just the choices that we make and what's, inherent versus a choice and things like that. So I feel like for that and for the way that it is written, 4 out of 5 stars, a really great book. It can be a little bit drawn out and a little bit repetitive sometimes. Some of the stuff, especially with Kathy, felt a little bit like beating a dead horse, like, alright, we get it already, but I was willing to forgive it just because I found the character so engaging that I didn't really mind. So yeah, those are my quick thoughts on East of Eden by John Steinbeck. If you've read this book, feel free to leave your comments down below letting me know what you thought of it. And also, if you've read any other Steinbeck, feel free to leave your comments down below about that as well. I'm hoping to read more Steinbeck soon. The only other one I've read is Of Mice and Men, but hopefully I'll pick up another one before the end of the year, but no guarantees because we all know how well I do with TBRs. So yeah, that's all I have for now. Thanks for watching.